Hi there, Paul Warren here. Today I'm going to show you a mobile lighting rig that I've built that you can easily take to gigs and set up for any situation that your band may find itself in. It's small enough to fit into a large vehicle, but it's also big enough to have a good impact on stage. And what this system is, it's run basically from a computer. You can sync your lights to music via MIDI and DMX. You can also control them in other ways from the computer, but what we're going to look at today is how to do it if you are running MIDI out of your DAW. So let me start with the lights first, and we'll take a look at what I built there, and I'll try to describe how it all works. Okay, let's start with the trusses. What I have here are two vertical trusses, and I believe they are about 6.5 feet tall, if I remember correctly. And the reason I did it this way is I didn't want to take something that I had to build up on stands every single time and then hang lights, that sort of thing. So what I've done is I've got two vertical trusses that are completely able to stand on their own. You don't have to set up any additional supports. And if you look closely here, you can see at the bottom, I have attached hand trucks, and even the type of hand trucks that can go upstairs very easily, to the back of the truss, and I even bolted the hand trucks to the back of the truss. That way I can simply unplug the lights, roll them right out the door and into the car. So it's very, very straightforward to bring this in there. The lights have all been bolted, as you can see. I had drilled through and got some steel brackets off of Amazon and just screwed them all directly to the truss like that, so there's no chance of them moving. Any sort of tie downs that you see, or twist ties, or zip ties, I should say, those are all just keeping cables in place. There's nothing but bolts and steel holding the lights in place. So what I have with these two trusses are 10 moving lights that you'll see, all mounted to the front of the trusses. And then on either side of the moving lights, I have an LED strip. And that LED strip runs all the way down and then comes back up on the opposite side of the truss. All right, and then and that's for both trusses are set up the same way. Then at the top of the truss, I have a couple of RGB floods, and that way I can do some dimming and basic color fades. And to control the LED strips, these are these more inexpensive LED strips that you can buy at Amazon and all sorts of places, eBay. So what I had to do was buy this Dmx Converter Box, and with that, it takes the DMX signal and you can just plug in your LED strip directly to it, and it converts it and gives you control at your DMX board, or in this case, in our DAW. So that's the basic setup. It's all pretty sturdy. I mean, obviously you got to be careful of the lights when you're moving this thing around, but it's meant so that you can just roll it right out and sit them on the back side of the truss here in your vehicle. So very straightforward, and they're very sturdy too. They're not going to fall over. I mean, you'd have to really, really push these things over. Lastly, I have a Laser World DS1000 RGB laser, and that is mounted in the inside of this case, which also is on wheels. That way I can simply bring the case up. If I want to use the laser, I can bring this case out, and you just got two cables out. You've got a DMX cable and you've got the power cable, and I can plug it directly into one of these trusses, and you have an added advantage of laser show. So it's flexible in that you don't have to run every single item that you have, but you can keep adding to these lights if you want to. But when you have 10 moving lights, 2 floods, and then the LED strips for sort of mood lighting, it's a lot of lights, and it's plenty to work with a small club scenario. All right, so let me go over to the computer and show you what's happening inside of the software. So real quick before I describe what's in the software, this is my live rig for using in-ear monitors and the Macbook. And so I have a Behringer X32 here in the front, along with my in-ears wireless, the Shure PSM 300 there. And then I just have a patch bay that I can use. It's a 3-way splitter that I can use to send signals to the Behringer or to front of house, that kind of thing. But the most interesting part of this is in the back. Well, maybe not the most interesting, but part of it. And that is this little unit here. This is the ENTTEC DMXIS, and it takes the signal out of my MacBook via USB and then converts it into DMX. So I can use a standard DMX cable out the back of it here and send that to the lights. And I just got it mounted to the back. It's not going to move, so it's very easy to just roll this up and pull out the USB cable, and I'm good to go. Okay, let's look at my computer here so we can see how this is all programmed and how it makes its way out to the lights. If I go over to the left over here, you can see where it says DMXIS. What it is the plugin is right there. So let me click on it. I've preloaded this as a plugin into Logic Pro. And this is basically software that looks like a DMX board. And a DMX board that you can control all the normal things, such as pan and tilt and color and brightness and strobe and gobo and that sort of thing. Now, let's go over to the preset manager, and this is where you can build your presets and control everything, much like your normal DMX board. But the preset manager in here is what I want to look at, because that's more specific to this plugin. So over here on the left, you'll see it says banks, and then on this side, presets. So in your DAW, you can send a MIDI signal to change one of these banks. So say I had 10 songs over here. It can automatically change to the next song or the 10th song, whatever you decide to put over here that corresponds with it. And the presets operate the same way. So you write on the piano roll in your DAW, you write on a different note over here to change the various presets. And they basically just go in order. So you can change the order of these as well at any time if you want to. But writing on different MIDI notes corresponds to the different presets. So what you're seeing over here is I've got a song called Mission Impossible, and you can check that out on my YouTube channel. I've got 2 versions up. One of them is the music video where you can see the lights being used, and then that's interspersed with other footage, much like a normal music video. Then I have another version where it is just the camera on the lights, so you can see the entire MIDI synced light show. So over here, I don't have any other songs. I have what I set up over here is basically macros, because when you send information to a DMX light, you have to tell that light to turn on. You have to tell it how bright, which color is it going to be, are you going to use a gobo? And then when you want to turn that light off, you have to sometimes you have to send a lot more info. You have to maybe tell it to turn off the red light so that next time you turn it on, the red isn't on anymore. That sort of thing. You have to think ahead a fair amount when you're programming these lights with MIDI notes. So doing these macros help me think ahead. It also helps me program much quicker, because I can just go over here to let's see, the floods, and I can just turn on red floods, and boom, I've got that. And I could go over here to my LED strips and turn on 2 white LED strips for a little bit of mood lighting. How about some blue and red? You know, so you can do things like that. If you want to get more specific, you can do that and customize it even further, but I just wanted to make the process simple to build something. Now, let me pull up the piano roll here so you can see that. You see all these MIDI notes here. Those I synced up with the WAV file that I dropped in there for this song. And this is based off of the guitar riff here. Matter of fact, let me just play a little bit of it so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll point something out. You can see right here, it's in sync with the riff, and then I have to turn the lights off. So you always have to think about turning whatever you have on and then immediately turning it off. So and I've set up some other presets to kind of make that a little more simplified, but sometimes if you get too detailed, then you walk yourself into a box and it's harder to get out of it. So I tend to just customize it in the with the MIDI notes the best I can to make it exactly match the song. So let's see, let's go farther down in the song and let you look at some of those. Let's see, maybe down in here, let's see. So with something like that, you'll see the lights are running. It's basically just a scene. So you wouldn't have to be as detailed as I've been with all these, you don't have to do all this crazy amount of MIDI notes. Where are my MIDI notes now? Now they're not showing up for some reason. Am I on the wrong? I'm just not there yet. There they are. So you wouldn't have to do all these crazy amount of MIDI notes that I've done. You could just program in some scenes, and you could do 10 scene changes during your song. That would be very easy to program. And then if your band is running off of a click track, they'll change right when you need them to, or you can advance to the next scene via a pedal that's plugged into the DMXIS box. You can do that as well. So there's all kind of options available. This is very, very programmed to make sure that it's completely in sync with the song. I like that impact, and I think it looks the best that way, but it does take a lot of time. Once it's done, and make sure you back it up. But it's a nice outcome, and if you have any questions, please leave me a question in the comments, or reach out to me on Instagram. Either way, I'll be happy to answer any questions I can. I hope this helps explain what the DMXIS box does and how it can be used in your DAW. It's very, very effective. A little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, it's pretty straightforward. So if you like this video, please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you listening, and I look forward to talking to all of you again soon. Thank you.